Hello, class. My name is Rocky Jurado, and this is my final presentation for our Networking 3 class, and the topic is NATs. We all know what NATs are by now, right? Network Address Translations, which is pretty much like their name itself says it is. It translates private IP addresses to public IP addresses, right? Remember, the private IP addresses are only used on private networks, right? They're not routable, therefore they cannot travel to the internet. We have two types of NAT, static NATs, which are manually configured by the network administrator, and they're mostly used by web or email servers, right? Then we have dynamic NAT, which is it chooses the public IP addresses from a pool that we create. Then we also have PATS, which is port address translation, also known as NAT overload, and it uses port numbers, right? So it assigns port numbers to the private IP addresses. Then after that, it assigns one public IP addresses, for there to use. Advantage of NAS, well, I guess the biggest advantage is that it helps the use of IPv4 addresses, right? It only use what is necessary. Remember that we already exhausted all the IPv4 addresses there is, and we are slowly making the migration to IPv6 addresses. Challenges of NAT, I think the most challenging part could be like the configuration, in my opinion. It can be a little tricky if you're not familiar with the commands and how properly configured, you can be running into troubles. Something that I found very important once learning networking in this class is SD-WANs, right? The software-defined wide area network is a modern approach to managing and optimizing WANs, with more businesses increasingly adopting cloud applications. SD-WANs provide more flexible and cost-effective solutions. The integration with IPv6. So, in my opinion, I don't think that we are never gonna run out of IPv6 addresses. Um, there are trillions and trillions of IPv6 addresses, right? But you know what? Honestly, that's what we thought with IPv4 addresses, and look what happens, right? So honestly, who knows? Um, it also helps, with the compatibility between IPv6 to IPv4 and IPv4 to IPv6. Like it makes the communication seamless from old to a new system, right? And also helps, coexist with dual stack networks, like the enterprises, they are running both at the same time. It helps with the protocol versions, and it helps to ensure the business continuity. All right, we are done with the PowerPoint presentation, and let's gonna move to a couple of the labs that I have for you. All right, here I'm trying to connect to the server. As you can see right here, already trying to ping to the web server right here with the IP outside address, and give me a request timeout, meaning that it was unsuccessful, right? Because there is no NAT configurations here. So we're gonna try to configure NAT so we can access the server. Okay. All right, so now we are inside the R1 router, and we are going to check for any configurations. Let's run the show, run, include NAT. And as you can see, there's nothing. There's no configurations right now on the R1. All right, let's check one more thing. Oh, IP. translations. Let's see if we have any entries there. And as you can see, there's also no entries right now there, right? So let's try to configure our router. All right, so now we gotta go into global configuration mode. We are inside. Let's go in IP NAT, inside, source, static. Then now we're gonna do the inside uh, address that we are trying to get to, okay? Along with uh, the outside address, public address. All right, I think, let me see, IP NAT source inside, blah, blah, blah. And yes, all right. So now we need to configure the interfaces right here and right here. All right. So we're gonna go to interface, gigabyte zeros/0 or end, and we're gonna go IP NAT inside. All right. Now we're gonna go to the serial interface. So I believe it's 0/00. Double check. Yes. All right, so we're gonna go in there and we are gonna hit IP NAT outside. Done, right? And that should do it. Right? So let me just check this out. Let me make sure that I'm able to share this and this. All right, and here I was going to do it again. I was pinging from my PC1 to my server, and as you can see, now we are successful, right? And let's go back over here and see if we can. Ah, here we are, and we are connecting to the server also, right? So that is pretty much in a nutshell how will you configure your static NAT. Now let's go and do our dynamic one. All right, let me. Right. Here now we're gonna try to configure our dynamic NAT. This is our packet tracer that we're gonna use. So here we need to get to the access list. Then eventually we're gonna to create our pools where we're gonna pull the IP addresses from, right? So we're gonna go to enable, and I'm going a little fast on this because I don't want to make this video super long. Okay, so we are on our access list one, and it's permit, and now we gotta go to our uh, network address, right? Which is like this network address right here. It's 172.16.0.0. And now we're gonna get to our well mass, and I'm pretty sure it's a 16 one here. Which it will be a 0.0.255.255. Yes, let me double check. Yes, that is correct. And we're gonna enter that right there. Now we have to configure the pool address, right? So remember, like in one of our classes, we created this pool and we do any name of the pool you can you can think of. So we're gonna do IP NAT, and I'm gonna do all capitals, and it's gonna be my final. And we're gonna do now the server address, right? So the network address was nice. Oh, my bad. Sorry. Forgot there. 65.200.29. Oh, we are okay. I'm sorry, we are adding the address, the public addresses for the pool here that we can choose from. Okay. 230, 229, and 230, right? And the net mass is gonna be 255, 255, 255, dot 252. Okay. And that should do it. Now we have to associate our ACL for a NAT pool. All right. So now let's go to IP NAT inside source, place once, pool, my final, right? And hit enter. And we're done. No, well, not quite there yet. Remember that we still have to configure the interfaces right here and right here, right? So let's do that pretty quickly. So let's go to interface 00/00. All right, we're in IP NAT outside, right? Then we're gonna go enter. Then we're gonna go to interface serial, then one, and that one is gonna be IP not inside. Okay, and that should do it. And we're gonna try to verify. Okay, let me see. Let me take a quick. All right, guys, and here I'll pin the server from my laptop one, and as you can see, I was able to pin the server without any problems. All right, and again, in a nutshell, and trying to make this really quick, I was able to set up my dynamic NAT for my LAN network right here to be access to the internet and connect to my server. All right, well, thank you very much, and you all have a great remaining of semester, okay?